When Henry Luce decided to do Sports Illustrated, he issued a little statement that I believe he wrote, and it was used at the first meeting in Myrtle Beach, and the phrases lasted those many years. There never has been a national sports weekly. Furthermore, it has been brilliantly proved that there never can be. But one thing is sure, the world of sport is a wonderful world, and everyone enters it with joy. And so we enter it as journalists, editors, writers, photographers, resolved to put something of the joy and the awareness of sport into the form of a magazine. I submit we did it.
When we first started, we would say, I'm from Sports Illustrated. It's a news magazine, it's a sports news magazine. We'd have to follow with that. Today, not only does everybody know what SI stands for, but boy, they practically salute.
When you think about America in the 1950s and what we were coming out of, America had just gone through a pretty tough time. And to me, the role that Sports Illustrated played was in telling stories about heroes, and they told great stories in golf.
You know, you look back to the 50s, Herb Wynn did the great piece, Ben Hogan's 5 Secrets. I mean, that was a watershed story in golf history, and it was a book that people still read. Then Dan Jenkins came along out of Fort Worth, where he grew up with Hogan and grew up with Byron Nelson. And who will ever forget what Dan did in the early 60s, the best 18 holes in America, two parts in the magazine, became a great book.
I think they were yards ahead of any other golf writers, and Dan, you know, was at his best, was just a joy to edit. I mean, I can remember the lead sentence of the 1969 Masters saying something like, "For 3 days, the Masters enjoyed an inner tranquility as Billy Casper and his good friend the Lord strolled the fairways of Augusta." And I remember thinking, my God, can we say that? And no, Dan was in a class by himself.
Well, I think there's been such a harmonic convergence between Sports Illustrated and golf, you almost can't put it into words. I mean, what publication has ever delivered so many great stories about a particular sport, written by writers, starting with a Herb Wynn, going to a Dan Jenkins, going to the Ed Swifts, going to the John Garritys, going to Rick Riley, going to Shipnuck, and the current group of writers they have.
They give you a chance to understand behind the scenes what's really happening at the major championships, who the players are, what they represent, what their personal stories are.
Writing for the magazine is very different from writing for the newspaper. As my boss, Jim Harry, likes to say, we don't pay you so much to write, we pay you to think before you write. I can't think of anybody else who really has the luxury to do that.
I think the key to SI is just our independence, our willingness to write things that other people won't. And you know, that's kind of been our trademark going a long way back, and I think in this current media environment, it helps us stand out even more.
One of the things that's really interesting about Sports Illustrated, understandably through the years, there's been this focus on the great photography.
When Arnold Palmer became Sportsman of the Year in 1960, the writer was a gentleman named Ray Cave. Ray suggested to Winnie Palmer that Arnold should wear red on Sundays when he was in contention at majors, because Sports Illustrated was the only publication capable of color. Only news magazine with color. Arnold agreed, and he began wearing red on Sundays.
Golf has always been an important sport for the readers of SI, and it was so important that about 20 years ago we started SI Golf Plus, basically to readers that really wanted more from SI, more golf coverage.
As you look at what Golf Plus opened the eyes of Time Inc. to, it's really, you know, suddenly Golf Magazine was part of the operation, the website and everything else. I mean, it's a franchise unto itself.
We deliver, we deliver insight, we deliver real access to the best players in the world.
He does. One day it's bogeys, the next day it's birdies. Phil Mickelson, 5 runner-ups in the U.S. Open. Here he is knocking on the doorstep. Is he teasing us again, or is he going to actually win a U.S. Open?
Golf coverage in the SI Golf Group is conceptual. It's not just about the score, the leaderboard, but it also puts everything within a context.
It certainly speaks to something I think that we've seen throughout the history of Sports Illustrated, and that's a willingness to do things that are innovative and creative.
When you get your distance from the golf
The wonderful thing about the platforms we've got is that with the onset of video and DVDs, we're able to show the golf swing in a way that people have never seen before.
We did one of the most interesting things ever done so far on an iPad, where we were able to give you what felt like a panoramic view of the Cliffs of Doom, sliding through it uninterrupted. It was an experience like no other that anyone had ever had with photographs, and embedded in there to enrich your experience of golf journalism.
It's amazing. Each month, 1 in 3 readers of Golf Magazine will try a tip that we've explained in the magazine. So at any point in any month, 2 million golfers in the United States are fiddling with their grip or changing their stance. And it's exciting to know that you can have an impact on people's lives to that extent.
I think that when you see SI branching out across all the different platforms, you have to think that we're doing that with golf in mind, because there is no sport that, you know, actually fits better with this new technology than golf.
Now with our Turner partnership, we're really excited about that next step there, and we're moving quick. The competitive landscape's changed a lot to a world that's multi-platform, that delivers content and great content to golfers in a meaningful way to help them become better. And we think that we can help grow the game by promoting how cool this sport is and how great it is.
Being editor of Golf Magazine over the last 6 years has been an absolute privilege and a joy, and sometimes I can't believe my luck.
John Marin, back in the day, envisioned something big in Sports Illustrated. We're envisioning something bigger.